Okay, well, we are going to go into our final breath exercise of this series, and it is the very act of breath awareness itself. Now, this simple act has been the foundation of meditative practices for millennia. I believe it is the most direct link to the act of creating life we humans have. We are one with the Creator who breathes life into mud, which is exactly what each of us are doing at this moment. With our next breath, we're breathing life energy into the minerals of earth which compose the cells of our body. The carrots you had for dinner last night. We're breathing life energy into it, making it you. To stop breathing is to withdraw from life. To be intimately aware of your breath is to be present to your act of creating your life. Now, this can be an immense challenge for the mind of many people who have not practiced it before. Our mind asserts its dominance by keeping us involved in its stories and sensations of the body. To be able to continuously bring our attention back to your breath for even a minute may be a greater challenge than you imagine. It is the first step, however, to mind mastery and the peace and the serenity of freedom from mind dominance. As such, it's a perfect preparation for entering your sacred heart. Some of the greatest mindfulness teachers, like Thich Nhat Hanh, have given us aids to help with the mental focus. So on handout 4, there are different breath practices, and I'm going to ask you to pick one of them, which we're going to practice together for several minutes. The first of these practices is just called the foundation, and this is a core practice, which is simply being aware of your breath, both the inhale and the exhale. The next one is called following the breath, and so as you breathe in, you follow your in-breath from its beginning to the end, and similarly, you follow your out-breath from its beginning to the end. Third one is called the in-out practice. So when you breathe in, you say silently in. As you breathe out, you say silently out. See, I've always said the mind is like a dog. You've got to train it. And this is like giving it a bone. The mind will say, oh, you're just going to watch your breath, and I'm going to distract you with what you got to do after the class. It's like, no. Here, you give it, say in, now while I'm breathing in, okay, in. Now out while I'm breathing out, out. No, you give the mind something to do. And then you can let your attention rest in the process. Counting breaths, you can also practice counting, inhale and exhale. 1, 2, 3, up to 10, and then you start from 1 again, okay? Or a mindfulness phrase. This is one from Thich Nhat Hanh. You can use a phrase like, breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. It's a hard time not to smile when you're doing that one, okay? So just choose one of these. Now, take one that appeals to you. Stay with it the best you can for the next 5 minutes or so as we practice together. And let go of the frustration if you get distracted, and just bring yourself back to the practice. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just stay with the practice that you've chosen rather than jump around. Oh, I think I'm going to go to the other one. I recommend that you try out each of these at different times, but not tonight. At this class, just stick with the one you have for a little while and watch. You'll learn from whatever happens. Even if you're distracted the whole time, you'll learn something from that. Okay? Just don't get in a big wrestling match with your mind, because that's like turning over dominance to your mind. When I first came on this and tried it, there was a great sense of freedom. You mean I don't have to be thinking about the next best thing I should do? I can just be here and listen to my breath and watch life be life. It was like, what a joy, what a freedom. All right, so whatever happens to you, let yourself be with it for the next 5 minutes. Okay. Easily and gently bring yourself back to the group and just notice how you're feeling in your body. The more you master breath awareness, the more uses you'll find for it in your life. Standing in the line at a store, waiting for a phone call. Simple breath awareness can bring you back to the peace of the timeless place in your sacred heart. When I first got the hang of this, it was like freedom of escape from the prison of my mental programming to be doing something useful or looking for something interesting or stimulating. Awareness of my breath gave me permission just to be and observe life around me from a place of peace, which was curiously joyful. Even in this little few minutes that we just took right now, it took a while, and in a way, this was much too brief a sample for breath awareness. It took me a while just to be able to separate from my mind and notice that it was going on with this or that story and just be with the breath. And it went back and forth several times. I'm sure that's not unusual for you. Is there anything that you want to share from this exercise or questions that you have around breath awareness before we do our final sharing with the group? Yes.
I've taken breath work before, and last week when we did counting on the breaths, we were like breathing in for 4, holding for 7, breathing out for 8. We were
Yes.
doing counting. And
Yes.
then when I went to do it, it sort of started counting with my heartbeats. And then that didn't seem to be the right thing to do. It seems like because the heartbeats could change. And then what happens? And then I got a clock at work here. So then it was different because it goes tick, tick, tick. So I noticed there was a difference. So what are your thoughts on that?
I like to go with the heartbeat. You just stumbled on that. When I really get into it and I do the inhale for 6, hold for 12, exhale for 18, it's all with my heartbeat. I'm not saying that's the way it should be done or anything. I'm just saying that you got something there. I like that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I resist the counting types of breathing. And I used to do it just to calm myself down, just normal awareness, mindfulness. But today, somehow you presented it, or the way I did it, it was like I was in touch with my essence, moving this way, moving out, moving whatever it was doing. And then it had more meaning, it was more powerful.
Oh, okay.
And because of my heart and lung condition, it's actually hard to manipulate the breath. To go 10 in and even 8 in and 8 out is hard for me.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is better, just a simple that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. See, and I love this. It's an experiment. It's not life by numbers, of course. We're here to share different tools we have to explore and experiments and share them with others. Yeah, thank you. I know you have a question prepared.
Earlier, you were talking about kindness and scarcity, and that really piqued my interest about how we can use kindness to the world to help reframe our scarcity mindset. Could you speak a little more about that, please?
Well, I would like to speak a lot about that because I think I need to, because, in therapeutic breathwork, we work with body themes, and the themes come from different stages in our life. And one of my body themes, it's not my major one, but a strong one, is the empathetic nurturing. And that is all about scarcity, not being enough, having enough, and so on. And so I notice that when I'm feeling full, there's no problem in being kind. And so reverse engineering now may be a wonderful game to play, which they say it is. And Joshua says it is, says in the book. In other words, be kind and see how that makes you feel full. See how that gives you a sense of gratitude. It's like, oh, I don't have to be stingy with my love. What you give away comes back to you. Yeah, I think we can philosophize on that. But the key that I got here for me is practicing it and notice that it is the antidote to scarcity. Yeah, I love that.